So yeah, welcome back to another WildStar screen. Oh, that kid. So, yeah, they finished Red Material yesterday, so there will be GAP1 today. Lol. That leg was raid wide. Quality game. So we're probably going to go to X89 and afterwards maybe the mini boss. Okay, well yeah, obviously we're going to do the mini boss in the middle first, but afterwards, I mean, we're going to do Kuralak as well, I suppose. Okay, not this one. RIP! That's the first death already. That's good. That's off good. That looks interesting. Okay, wipe. Hey, Acro. Bill. It's starting so good, very well. Playing at a trash mob. Trash group.
But one guess just won't stay dead. I'm looking at you.
Rip. Just keep on dying at trash mobs right now. Yay, no, never mind. Oh well. Hey. I guess maybe people who are watching don't really know much about this. Maybe they do, but there's an explanation of this move group. Basically it's just trash, and yeah, the principle is the one that gets big has this buff that increases its damage, reduces its damage taken, and also gives some kind of reflection, so if you attack it you take damage. And so one of them is always big and it switches between them. So one is small all the time. You basically just have to attack the one that's small. And then switch back to the other one whenever they change the sizes. Okay. Oh, nice. Wait. Okay, so the one that's walking there, this genetic monstrosity, is the mini-boss. And we basically want to do the trash before doing the mini-boss. Obviously. It only makes sense, right? God damn it. Okay, now we have to switch because of the change of size. Also, very important to stay away from the big one as it's a little bit going in rage. Oh, they reset it. Wah, wah. Okay, let's go again. Which? What are you doing? Don't make him walk a bit weirdly. Oh, greetings. Are we able to kill him before he gets enraged? Nope. Oh, 4%. Very close. Why? So that was the trash. At least one of the trash groups. There's another trash group mob. Trash group. Wait. So we're going to wait for the mini boss to pass until we're making the other group. Those are reviving people, of course. Okay, so this group, it's quite simple. We have a few attacks that are quite annoying, like a huge telegraph in one direction that can be dodged, of course. Like this one, this triangle thingy. So if you are hit by that, you take a bit damage and you get knocked down. And aside from that, both need to die at the same time, and that's basically it. So yeah. But it's avoidable, as you can see. Just have to react as early as possible. I also think, I'm not so sure, but I think they are not allowed to stand... Yeah, exactly. They're not allowed to stand too near next to each other, since they get a reduced damage. There we go, finished. Okay, mini boss now. The genetic monstrosity. The best way to this guy gets some stacks over time, and to remove the stacks, it needs to be. It needs to stand below, what's it called? 1 second. Oh, good job. Okay. We're going to reset it. This is one option you... Great. Shower. Now remember.
You've returned? I guess you were just mostly dead.
Teleport. Genau. There are these consoles you can interact with that activate a shower, and this shower needs to hit the boss for him to remove the stacks. If the stacks are not removed, then the boss will deal increased damage. Additionally, if he gets hit by the shower, he will have a moment of opportunity where you do more damage. There you can see shower is activated. Don't stand in the shower, it's not healthy. It's a weird thing to say, shower's not being healthy. But yeah, in this case, it really is that way. Another thing is, after a certain time he will spawn 4 like pustules next to him. These red circles you can see there basically show it. And if those get hit and break, they will spawn bigger red area. Also, he has this explosion thing that where we need to throw some defenses, so this doesn't kill us like it just did with many. So you can see this red thing where my cursor is on, and there it exploded. It basically explodes by any attack, like you don't even need to do much damage, it's just a tiny little bit is enough already. Okay, so we're going to reset again because too many people died. Oh, come on. There we go. Reset it. Oh, look at that. Repair machine. Ka-ching! Our food is still ready, so I'm ready to go. This is the... So, on the first level of GA there are 3 mini-bosses and 2 bosses. This is the most important mini-boss, because if you kill him you get another point to teleport to. And... yeah, that's why we are doing him. It also makes it easier to run to the other bosses. And it doesn't really matter in which order you do them. Like, the mini-bosses can even be skipped, but the bosses, even the order doesn't matter. We have 2 bosses and we can do either one first. The ones that are available here are Experiment X89, I think, and Kuralak. The Kuralak is the more difficult one, without a doubt. But Experiment 1, we're going to do that one. At least. I think we'll be able to kill it. It isn't there isn't much that changes with the difficulty. Like, this is P1, but the mechanics are basically one-to-one the same. The only difference is you need more damage, because the bosses have much more health, and the bosses, everything from them also deals more damage, so you need more healing and more health. Also means that since the damage is really high, like, I know there's the scaling, but yeah. There we are. Oh, come on. Okay, so now it gets a little bit annoying because of the low amount of space you have here. Which is also the reason why you need a lot of damage. So to a certain degree it's actually... okay. killed us. So you need enough damage to kill him before everything's filled up. Okay, there's some space, but you look like here there's just a lot lying around. And that's why. Oh well.
They say there's no rest for the wicked, which doesn't speak very well of your character.
I guess all the people who can teleport died. So this part, you basically have to go through it, and there's this area surrounding you, which basically destroys those eggs. And every time an egg dies or breaks, everyone around you as well as yourself get confused. Like that. And destroying them is either because of the area around you or because of the damage you apply to the eggs by physically hurting them. I like to troll a little bit by destroying the eggs with a ranged attack because people are confused why they get confused. Which sounds confusing. Way too much confusion. No, can't destroy that. Okay. Delete. Okay. Wait, no, it doesn't seem to be clock. So, by the way, maybe you might, if you watch my Guild Wars 2 streams, you might notice that I'm not very high in the damage meter in WildStar. The reason because of that is the difference in the way WildStar and Guild Wars 2 have the grinding or progressing. Like in Guild Wars 2, once you get extended gear, you have the best stuff, so it only depends on how well you play. In WildStar, however, it's quite different. What's he doing? Well, rip. I guess that was a loss of aggro because some DPS did not look or something.
Your soul seems to drift
Anyways,
between
so yeah,
life
if you
and
watch my Guild Wars 2
death.
streams, you
Make
might
up your
notice that
mind
I'm
already.
much further down in the DPS in WildStar, but basically that's just because I don't have the best equip and I'm not really playing WildStar much in the late time. Like I'm only playing to for raids, but nothing else. Because progressing in WildStar has got a lot more difficult in the late time. Like usually you would have to get better gear, and better gear can be gotten anywhere. But to have a decent group for the dungeons and everything, it's very annoying on the highest levels. And the other thing is, there's a certain degree of luck you need. Like, if you played Diablo, you have a good feeling for this, how the game can really f you up in the long term, in the long run. And so that's basically what happened to me in WildStar as well. Only difference compared to Diablo, where you just have to brainlessly farm for something, in WildStar you actually have to work for stuff, like really hard. And that makes it really annoying to get better stuff. And the other thing is, the items I want to, since I did do theory crafting for WildStar for a long time, I can't get those because the dungeons you would get the items from I would want, no one does them. Because they are too hard, or they don't like them, whatever the reason. People just do it. So, yeah, so much about optimizing. Because I might not have the best items. Like I also know that Irvine, with Wilsoning that is currently on number 1, has a weapon that is 5 levels above mine. 5 item levels. And that already makes a huge difference on a weapon. Might not be a big difference on other items, but on a weapon it is definitely a big difference. So that's another reason. I don't know about Rihanna. I don't know the state of her gear. I guess she has gotten better ones, better items now. But I don't know. Also maybe I didn't have enough strike throw. Guess I could fix that by looking at the comparison of strike through to deflections. I have an add-on for that. You might have noticed it. I use it occasionally on my streams. Just a little one, it's not perfect, it's just for me, for myself, to have an idea of how much I need for which boss. I can quickly look it up. I mean, technically you could make a whole add-on to completely analyze the enemies, but yeah. But I guess he might be dead before that. 3%, 3%, 1%, and dead, I guess. Okay, so let's get it up. What's it? Compare... Breakthrough, that's it. Okay. So this is a little window I made this add-on. Compare strike through. Basically if I can remember correctly, the upper number is from the enemies. The middle number is from me, and the lower number is the subtraction of both. And you don't want the subtraction to be above 7.5, so it's too high for me. So I need to fix it. I've prepared like 3 items and a different build respective to what I need, so I can just switch to this. Sure, it already changed my strike throw. I guess it doesn't update that easily. It's only 3.15 now against that one. It should be fine now. Oh, so much happening. And that is also the reason you can push your DPS a little bit. Like, for example, in this fight you can attack the trash and the enemy trash, the little trash and the big trash at the same time, and so you can push your damage that way, which would technically not really make sense. Yeah. If you're interested, I actually made a blog post on the damage calculation in WildStar. You can find everything. Maybe posted it on Reddit, had some corrections there. So the trash group of the spider, by the way, technically this web spire things need to be destroyed. Like, you can see that damage is not really doing it. Okay, this one was too long. That exploded. So you have to place the little circles under those eggs. And by that, they are destroyed. I can also see that this item drop is unscaled. There are some unscaled item drops in GAP1. The level difference 96 versus 155. Even 160 this one. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay! So this is one of the first bosses, Experiment X89. Food is up. Could throw in a potion at some point. Okay. As you can see with my add-on, the enemy has 18.24% deflect chance, and I have 12.59 strike through, so the difference is 5.66. And thanks to the raid buffs, we will get it down to below 0. But my add-on doesn't work with players, as you can see, because you can't get information from other players. It would be unfair for PvP, that makes sense. So if you have no idea on how this boss works, then I can explain it. What I want to say is, we're going to stand at the front to the right of the boss, and we're going to stack there to be near the tanks so we all get the defense crit, which is really necessary as his knockbacks can kill immediately. But to be honest, this boss really sucks. And here we go. Ah. No, could be up. One thing I hate about the knockbacks is that they interrupt your attack pattern. Like if you have some attack that requires you to not run or something, then say goodbye to that loading or charge. Also, you might notice that I have a lot of stuff going on my screen. It's just that, I don't know, I like it that way. But if you happen to play the game and you don't like it, you can switch it off. For example, red areas are text from the enemy, obviously. The orange areas you can see are from other players. And the green ones you probably won't see as easily are from me. And then there are the blue ones, which are healing. Also there are some add-ons installed that show the direction of the enemy, for example, over cast times. That just help with a general boss fight, make it a little bit easier. I mean, technically you could play it only with what you can see from the animation of a boss. Okay, little bump. Step. There we go. The little bump needs to be brought outside. It breaks one of the platforms. Technically you're able to place it into the air outside of the platforms. That way non-platform will get destroyed, but you also risk of falling down, so I can not advise it if you're not used to it. Little bomb, I think I'm going to place it here. Yux! Good. The spear is really dangerous, because it applies a dot, and on P1 the dot is so strong that I cannot advise you to get it. I mean, technically I think it could be healed, but very unlikely. It also could happen that the spear itself just kills you before anything. Like the damage scaling is very strong on the raids, on the higher levels, higher difficulties, or higher prime levels, whatever you want to call them. There, you saw it. I was able to place the bomb without breaking the platform there. That's good. That way at least you could see it. So during knockback you want to stand where everyone else stands. That one hit. I want to be at the boss. Okay. Sure. So with a big bomb you have to jump down and get back up, and this... Okay, I was lucky. So yeah, you just have to jump off with a big bomb, and the explosion of it will basically push you back up. That's it about that one. If a big bomb does not jump down, it basically breaks a huge amount. Okay, I'm doing a reference. Like, yeah, it breaks a lot of platforms. I did not intend to do any jokes about American presidents that pronounce words in a certain way. No reference intended. Oh god.
Run away.
Ah, and where it failed. Escalates quite quickly, doesn't it? How much health does he have? Can't see it very well. Yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, what's the matter? Grave not deep enough? Eternity not long enough? Picky, picky, picky.
Shoo 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 shoo. Okay, here we go. So by the way, also, because it just comes to my mind, the greeting sapient beings that I'm doing is actually from WildStar. Because there's this character that's called the Caretaker, and he says it. Yeah, I don't know. The Caretaker is really cool. You really need to... If you happen to check out WildStar, you're definitely going to enjoy the things the NPCs say. Because... So, I really like the quotes from the Caretaker and from the teleportation guy. I don't know if he's a Caretaker as well. And the quotes if you die. Those are cool as well. What's going on? And okay. The other time when he does the knockback, you technically have to run against it. With sprint it works even better, and then you can decrease the amount you will get knocked back, which is really helpful. But at the same time you have to interrupt your rotation, which is annoying. Okay. There's a big one. should... Yeah, there it is. There's Phoenix view. Whoop. Other direction. They could have gone wrong. Yuck. Just like this one. So many attacks from him are insta-kill on this difficulty. Oh, little bomb. Maybe here? Let's place it here. Why not? Sounds fine to me. Yux, get out! Good lord. Yeah. Ah, little bomb. Oh, he did not knock me back. Oh, now he knocks back. Okay, I guess I misinterpreted the skill he was using. I'm a little confused now. Nope, spew has been interrupted. You don't see that always. You don't usually see that in games with enemies abort the attacks. I guess actually yes, you do. Like in Guild Wars 2 at Fractal level 100, you fight against. But there's a dude, I don't remember the name right now. He also interrupts his attacks sometimes, so it's just really annoying because his attacks don't really have much cast time. Yep, it was a little bit too early. At least I didn't run off of platforms, that would have been ridiculous. Something would have also been nice. Big bomb, I need to jump off. Something that would be really nice as well would be if you're capable to see all of the platforms. To get a little bit of an idea on what it looks like and where you still have platforms, for example. Also, if you've played Guild Wars 2 and you've run in the Fractals of the Mist and you've done the fractal where the boss where you have to fight in the middle of Tauma Nova reactor, I think it is. We have to fight the guy that destroys platforms as well. There's a slight difference there, because these platforms do not regenerate in comparison, which makes the fight much more difficult, especially since you have this enrage phase where no platforms are left anymore. As you might have seen earlier, that we had, and in the end it was just 5 platforms. The platforms break due to the small bump. They can happen due to the big bomb, and also because of the attack the boss does a few times. I'm going to call it out the next time he does it. Like this attack. The last platform that is targeted breaks. Big bomb, I need to jump down. Dang, and up we go. Okay, the knockback might... Oh yeah, I survived thanks to the medic. Oh, that's unfortunate. Thank you for the heal. So I hate this view. And not this view, the knockback. The knockback combined with a big bomb is something I really hate. And again, I guess I don't need any PC abilities. We could have taken something for protection or something. Little bomb, where are we going to go? I think this is fine. So the little bombs should be placed somewhere a bit away, but not too far away. Yep, and yep. Crap. I misread. I thought he would do knockback and he did spew instead. Why did I read knockback? God damn it. It was an unnecessary death. I think that was a big bomb there.
Your death warrant has been revoked. I'll make an appeal.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Ridley just mentioned that you can interrupt the jump from the big bomb. That's really interesting. Because that's also a problem I have with a knockback. By the way, the project I'm currently working on, I've sped up things a little bit in a good path right now. I think I have like 5 or 6 creatures already added, so that's about 1/5 done. A little bit more than 1/5. I'm planning on doing 25 creatures. I also need to do the menu still, and I need to rework the graphics. I'm only using prototype graphics right now. I will be able to do everything before the release. Remember, the closed beta is at the 8th of July, I think. And a few days afterwards I'm going to make an open beta. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see about that. The game is basically, by the way, about the basic idea of a visual novel combined with an RPG, and it's inspired by Undertale and as well other game, Undertale and Earthbound. Basically, it's trying to capture the idea of a Earthbound fight against the Negativity Man. You remember him? Basically, an enemy in Earthbound that is super negative and really weak, and the fight against him is just so effing absurd. You really need to check it out on YouTube or something. It's really amazing. So yeah, I'm basically trying to capture this essence by having you fight against anything in the world. That's why my name is Against the World. Or shortcut is ATV. ATW, sorry. And yeah, basically you're fighting anything like knives or cupboards or shelves or chairs, basically anything. And yeah, you get some... Yeah, thank you. That was an obvious aggro fail. Good job. It kills itself.
Not
Where was
dead
I?
yet. Keep trying. You'll get there.
So, you can fight all these creatures. And you get some interesting texts. You can even interact with them, like... You have the option to fight them, you can punch them, you can kick them, you can bite them. And you can interact with them as well. Like, you can talk to them, you can hug them, you can stare at them. And you can also defend and give up, basically. And there's also an option to go a pacifist way, but it's not like in Undertale where you click mercy, but it's more like once the enemy is satisfied, he will give up on his own volition. And the more satisfied he is, the higher the chances. What a weird break for. So we're going to have a little break. I'm going to use it to go in the toilet, so I'll be back in a few. I didn't notice the break. Oh my god. So see you soon. And I'm back. Greetings, sentient beings. Got some chocolate again. Okay, break is over.
Please input your account number now. Preparing for spirited financial negotiation.
Ah. Okay, here we go. No, that was faster than me. Never mind about it. Resounding shout. I need to make sure that there's one thing I'm reading before doing stupid stuff. Jetting shockwave is the one that destroys one dead form. Resounding shout, there's a knockback. Shockwave. Merchant's Spew, so this is one I want. Ah yeah, okay. The debuff from the Spoo basically does about 10% damage.
You must be tired of dying over and over again. Dead tired. Get it? Dead tired.
Too many deaths. The problem is, if people die this fast already here at experiment, then doesn't look much better at Kuralak. Nom, nom, nom. One, and grow. Well, while I'm playing WildStar. What do I like about WildStar and what do I not like about WildStar in comparison with other MMOs, specifically Guild Wars 2? So, something that WildStar has, that Guild Wars 2 does not have, is the difficulty. I really love the difficulty. I mean, it doesn't need to be as forgiving as playing something on Prime level 1 or Prime level 13 or something. It's not necessary, I don't need scaling content. But it needs to be challenging. And it doesn't need to be challenging in a way that the fight takes 15 minutes and you have to make a mistake when it's over. That's not the kind of challenging I want to see. What I want to see in challenging is different, like the different types of difficulties in games. For example, a thing with different mechanics stacking on each other, or like having to react to certain things in a certain time frame and stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I like. Like for example, you have 20 people in the raid. Okay, just a little bit of an analysis. You have 20 people in the raid. There's a big bomb and a small bomb that are randomly placed on people. So, yeah, we have a big bomb. I'm gonna try the stuff with Raid said. Oh yeah, it works. Much better, I guess. Seems so at least. So yeah, I have a big bomb and a small bomb. That affects 2 people in the raid, so it's a 1 in 20 chance you get either one. Then there's this attack that is actually only relevant to the tank. That will destroy one platform. So it's a really good thing, because it basically prevents the tank from being bound. Since he has to kinda make sure that the right platforms get destroyed and not just any randoms. And he also needs to make sure that it's not necessarily the platform he's on. The other thing is The tanks, of course, also get the small bombs and big bombs. Then with the spew, you need to make sure that you know when the spew is coming and where it's moving to. I mean, it's shown to you earlier due to the telegraph, but still you need to make sure to keep that in mind and react accordingly. And then there's a knockback, where you basically, well, on the lower levels it's not so important, on the higher levels you need to stack more or less together and make sure not to get knocked off. And so that's basically it. It's not much, but if you're a new player and you do this boss for the first time, it is really much. Especially those things like the little bomb should be placed a little bit further away so no one falls into the hole that is created by it. The big bomb needs to run off. Okay, I guess that's not a big issue. And yeah, not getting knocked down. So it doesn't sound difficult. It actually isn't that difficult coming to think about it. But at the same time, in the very early start, it's very overwhelming, so to say. So, on the same premise, stacking mechanics is something that Guild Wars 2 does at some point do too, thanks to the raids they have implemented now, and the higher fractals. So there's this stacking of mechanics can be seen as well now. Which brings me to the next point. Just senselessly stacking mechanics on bosses is a really cool thing and everything, but there's this weird procedure that people that I don't know if game designers intended it to be that case. Bomb. Yuxa! Run! Ah, that is close. But I managed. Also, it's dying. I'm game designing it to death, basically. I'm annihilating him through analysis. So yeah. There we go. He's dead. So, what I wanted to say is the thing I do not like. Something I've seen really many games do in the last time. There's this procedure that people design the game for the players to just jump into the fight over and over again to figure things out. I'm not a fan of this. I prefer the way it's been done in older games, like you have some smaller enemies that have these mechanics, for example, or something, and then it's at some point you have the boss that basically collects all these ideas and brings it into one big thing with everything you've learned so far, and maybe a little bit new, but not too much. So yeah. Okay, we're going to do the mini boss now. The one to the left. The one who is the one. Okay, so we have this enemy group here. So we have these enemies that have to die at the same time and that get debuffed if they're next to each other and have this AoE. You never see a boss that uses this principle. I mean, it does not need to be the case that a boss uses it, but it would be nice to see something in this direction, like something similar for maybe 1 or 2 enemies, or at least for 1. So basically what I want to see in games again is that players get trained by playing the game for the bosses they will then be challenged to do, or they have to do everything they needed so far. You know? or some discussion about. Yeah. I also wanted to check this out. Just interested. 155. It's higher than mine, isn't it? Oops. Wrong key. Need the player. Yeah, I only have a 150. So no wonder they are higher than me. I have a better weapon. This is the one from Stormtail? Bloody Lucas. So that's the thing that I hate. That's the second thing I hate about WildStar. Like, in Guild Wars 2, you play the game, you get the end armor, you're done with the game. Sounds stupid, but it provides them with a framework where we can do something completely different. Like, they don't need to worry about power creep, they don't need to worry about these issues that old content is no longer interesting. Of course, it happens that old content may not be as interesting because it's not as rewarding, but they can easily fix that, especially since we have a power scaling that actually works compared to other games. Like your level scales down, which works very well compared to other games. And what else is it? Or a spider can get you off your strain of thought. What it's called. Okay, so we'll pull the mini boss out to here, to this place. And then we're just going to attack it while it's standing in the middle. We have to... Sorry. We have to split a little bit. Yeah. That's good. I felt a little bit of rotation. Oh yeah, that brings me back to the thing. So the thing I hate about WildStar currently with the itemization system, it feels like Diablo, which is inherently not a bad thing, but to get to better gear is really difficult in WildStar, which is like, it's a system like WildStar, it's a system like Diablo, but more complicated, more difficult to get better gear. Not like just playing the game and at some point you will get lucky loot and be happy. I mean, it is possible to do that, but the chances to get that are so extremely low. Incredible. Actually made a spreadsheet about that. I could do a blog post about that. I think I haven't done that yet. I have the data, but I know what I'm going to do next. I still have to think about 100 blog post special. Since the next post is going to be 100s, and I have no idea which one I'm going to do. over 100. I'm actually going to lose this too. Just because, I don't know. Oh good, that's when I have enough pieces. I don't know what I had planned with it. I would have to redo the planning again. What else did it drop? 86, 160, 155, 155. Light feet 155, but the stats are meh. Oh yeah, this is Kuralak the Defiler. This is the boss that is known to kill guilds. People will call themselves to be number 1 in damage. So this boss is basically really complicated. The first phase is not a problem, the second phase is the problem. So what happens in the second phase that makes this fight so difficult? Usually when you fight bosses, of course if people die it's a bad thing. But if not an important place dies, like an important person for like a healer or a tank, basically you can still kill the bosses. Now this is something that's different at Kuralak. So why is it different? In the second phase, one random person will get an egg. Like literally he will be imprisoned in the egg. And to get out of his egg, it needs to be kicked. If it's not kicked, it keeps on pulsing damage to the roll rate, which really hurts. So what happens if it's kicked? If the egg is kicked, the person who kicked the egg gets a debuff. So both of these people, the one in the egg and the one who kicked, have a debuff now. And this debuff keeps on dealing damage, like it's a dot, a damage over time. And at the same time, after a certain time, both of these people will be imprisoned in the egg. And these need to be kicked again. After they've been kicked, there are 4 people with a debuff. This keeps going on with 8 people and 16 people. And then after 16 people it would be 32. Unfortunately, there are only 20 people in the raid, so it does not work. And that's where the trouble happens. So you need enough people to get through all these phases until the 16 egg phase. So for the 8 egg phase you need 8 people to egg. And if you do it completely randomly, it's really troublesome. And so usually you will go with a strategy where you say the people who do the most damage kick first, so they can burst, so you can burst the boss down, as it has a lot of health as well. And yeah. So what happens is, if people die, you either have not enough for the 8 egg phase, or what else can happen is that you just don't have enough damage. And another thing what happens is, if a person with a debuff dies... I'm ready. Technically. Okay, someone's running. We need to check if I'm on any egg. Nope, I'm not doing any eggs. Yeah. As I tried to say, if someone with a debuff dies, then someone else randomly gets the debuff who hasn't yet. And it just gets chaos into everything and it makes things complicated. Okay. Got aggro on my burst. There. Apparently it's just around and broken. Just going around. Like the song from Layers of Fear. Stumbling all around, stumbling all around. Oh yeah, and since I just noticed it, she will occasionally place AoEs under people, and you basically just have to move out. And after a certain time she will teleport out behind the pillars, where people need to kick for her to get back into the middle. And the longer it takes, the bigger the circle in the middle comes until it reaches the cap, which is the current. And additionally there's pulsating damage towards everyone. Yeah, and since it has not been kicked for different reasons, maybe the person died or something, or didn't get to her, or did something wrong, then yeah, the faces wipe. Faces wipe! Much English, very well. Yep. So we have a bugged enemy now.
New subjects.
So we have to die.
You two will be added to the archives.
We're not going to do the mobs at Kuralak.
I'm waiting for you.
So some people want to do a trash mob, and the trash mob has this weird behavior of running into the wall to a certain degree where it's not killable anymore.
In a maze.
Six and spam. That was my burst, which was very, very damaging. That's the reason why I have totally no aggro. Not trying to defeat a prison. Not my job to have aggro. I'm not a tank. I'm a DD, a DPS. Merry-go-round. Merry goes around in the merry-go-round. There's actually an achievement not to get hit by any of the red fields. Of course, not by the lasers either, since we will instantly kill you. But it's another field. So it keeps going this phase. We have to go around, the laser spinning around, people have to run out at a certain time. You kick her when she's outside in this sort of little phase. And this keeps going on until the second phase, which is now phase 2. Okay, so I'm the random egg. I'm alone in the east. Okay, so basically what I need to do now is I'm not allowed to place where the other stand at.
These subjects are not worthy of you. The archives hold many secrets. Let me share them with you.
Yeah. It seems like it was a failed kick.
Every one of you will die. A disappointing effort. Next subject. The archives hold many secrets. Let me share them with you.
Do you have a death wish? So do I. I wish you'd stop coming here.
Ow! That hurt! Like a lot. And didn't hurt at all.
You choose life? Well, there's no accounting for taste.
And second place. Not me this time, it's Beluga. So nothing to worry about anymore. For now. Always trying to get into the same direction as going to be called earlier. So we can make sure that the people with the X with the dots get healed. Which is really important. Also the boss should never ever get kicked. Especially when casting. Because if the boss gets kicked while casting, the person who kicked will get all the aggro. God damn it.
Subjects must be eliminated. This is my domain.
This is my domain. Okay, so it seems like there was a random mech.
Commencing purge. Knowledge can be enlightening.
Wipe.
You are not worthy of the archives. The archives hold many secrets.
What? Wow. So, it can get really chaotic if something goes wrong. Like we had one person that died, and that gave us a random egg, and we happened to have 5 eggs, and so we went with a tactic that one person dies. So we're going to do the fresh. So the problem was in the end that I think the stacking was at the wrong time, and so people died. And afterwards everything escalated. I think I should mute this. I don't know if it makes these sounds. Pop up. What is it called? Smash crit sounds. Change load rules, do not load. Thank you. Reload the oi. There was, for those who, if you may wonder, there's an add-on that I've designed for a friend who was interested in an add-on that I've created earlier, that basically adds some sounds. Make Smash Bros. That adds Smash Bros. Sounds to each hit and to each crit. This can be really annoying. I have a comment to disable it, but for some reason, I don't know. It's not working. Sorry.
New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives.
Stupid fields from the top. Okay, wipe.
Time for
Too
an
bad.
unexpected lift.
Too bad. Too bad, 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 bad.
Come find me if you dare. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. Lost, like rodents in a maze. I'm waiting for you. Lost, like rodents in a maze. I'm waiting for you.
Think it's bugged.
It seems death isn't the inconvenience it used to be.
It seems like we've bugged Kuralak. So we're going to do some loot now. What a bad roll. Greetings. We have a little bit of problems with the boss that bugged. Kuralak started bugging around. Now we're trying to reset the instance. And hope that everything's normal afterwards. So, you have to wait the moment they want to see us to continue, right? So the trash respawned. Okay. Okay, let's wait for Volvers, I guess. I teleported and he almost ran into the trash mobs. Great. Step to the left. That was close. Oh god. Here we go all the way again. I hope that it's not bugged anymore. It's really depressing. It's really demotivating if other people do more damage than you and you can't do much against it because it's just you had bad RNG compared to them. Stumped. Never group defeated. Let's get back to Kuralak finally. So yeah, let's hope it's not bugging again. Because that will be very unfortunate. I don't want to spend the rest of the night resetting the raid. Posting stupid stuff in the chat, oh god. Okay. Food is in, potion is in, boost, ready technically. Build up sticks in the meantime. Wait, and attack. Just making sure I didn't get aggro. Boom, and it's going round and round. Watching the little areas in the meantime, in between. Hey, one person already died, seriously? Okay, another phase.
Come find me if you dare.
Not really a phase, but okay. Mechanic failed.
For you. New
So apparently the people who are
added to the archives.
supposed to kick her outside behind the pillars failed. So yeah. Things can go horribly wrong. What is Gordius trying? Two stacks, 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 5 stacks.
New subjects. You two will be added to the
Good job, Gordius. I think I made him do it. Oh god, I'm a bad influencer, I'm sorry.
subjects. You two will be added
Oh wow.
to the archives. But first, you will die.
S. Okay,
Looks like your last payment
that
cleared.
seems random.
That's good. I do so detest deadbeats.
Do you want some V? Why? It's not a bad game. I mean, there are streamers that play, what do I know, Banjo-Kazooie in 2018 probably. I guess maybe Banjo-Kazooie is a better game, I don't know. It's one of the golden games, isn't it? Even though I think Donkey Kong Country, I like that one more. I mean, as long as I have friends in WildStar, why not play it? I mean, a lot of the barrier that once existed has been removed with the items. That's much simpler to get into the end game. I guess about half a year or something it was. Yeah. That was accurate for 1 second or so. Okay, one person died and one person had to disconnect. Great. So the problem is, technically we need to wipe now, because it's really important for people to stay alive at this boss. Like each person that dies decreases our chance to be able to make it. by a lot. But I guess Redlead wants to continue anyways. 3 people died already.
The subjects require lost like rodents in a maze. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first,
Okay, it's not so easy to do the laser part. Like, being in the middle doing damage is the easiest part. Okay. Redlead said GG. Let's GG.
Some say death reveals the mysteries of the universe. Not that you'd know.
So something I've noticed, by the way, by playing WildStar and switching between WildStar and Guild Wars 2 occasionally, is Guild Wars 2 has these tiny little features that are basically nothing special, but it's something you really start to miss in other games. Like, for example, one of these features is in Guild Wars 2, if you press the right control key, you can translate everything in the game. And if you're playing with friends who don't speak English, this feature is like the most important thing to play with them. Something I'm really missing in WildStar. And the other thing is, yeah, this little comment that you can use in Guild Wars 2 to kill yourself in certain content. And it's also something that I would really like to see in WildStar. Or in future MMOs as well. Like, these little features really should be in future MMOs as well. Okay, let's see if people are more concentrated this time. Run! Run faster! There we go. Oh, I didn't take the fire. But it doesn't matter. If the abilities one-hit you, then the fire doesn't really matter that much. Especially if I'm not egg. If it would be egg, then that would be really helpful.
new subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. Let the archives' knowledge embrace you.
I think I wasn't able to, yeah. Put up the auto attack.
Time for an unexpected victory. I'm waiting for you. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die.
Yucks. Stop placing those AoEs below me. It's kinda irritating. And again, sometimes it runs into them. But that's not the same. Okay, phase 2 soon. Sweet. We got into the second phase, that's good. Okay, so random egg is... Okay, has already been kicked. Nice. So we're going south, which is there. Pew! Needed to get rid of it. Can't just run around with stacks. I could technically build up the stacks behind the pillar, but I don't know. Oops. I think I got a speed buff that actually made me move too fast. North, that's there. Those crazy people who just... Those crazy medics that just stand in the middle and ignore all the damage. So we're currently in the 4 egg phase. You didn't know. The boss has a little less than 50%. Next we're going into the north, which is here.
Knowledge can be enlightening.
Okay. So we should get into the 8 egg phase soon.
Such a beautiful infection.
Great.
Is everywhere.
Okay, that escalated a little bit. And wipe.
Commencing purge. A disappointing effort.
The move egg buff, debuff died. And that, yeah, afterwards everything escalated.
Look at the bright side.
It
At
looked really
this
good so
point,
far.
you're probably
Well,
considered an
except for
expert
escalation.
on dying.
But hey, some fights really snowball more than others. Choo. Okay.
New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. New subjects.
The beginning was a little bit chaotic with the rotation. Oh, I got a message. Someone's breathing on the TeamSpeak. A bit irritating. Person already died, I wonder why.
New subjects
Hey, chat says
will be added
because of the lasers.
archives. But first, you will die.
And the number 2. Sweet. Wipe.
A disappointing effort. Next subject.
Going to change your camera quick. Small. Not happy on both the hate. Oops. Something like that, that's more like
Welcome
better.
back.
I let myself hang a
This
little
is
bit.
becoming
I'm
a
too low.
habit.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm so small. Can't change the fact that I'm so small. Because I've always been playing too much games in my whole life. No. Bad thing. It's a real bad thing. That's the way it is. Going to... a little bit. Might be something important. It's for a project for work. Okay. For so long... Okay, it's 100%. Remove it as well. Good. Sorry about that. Let me eat some food first. Okay, 3 seconds. You can't charge faster than that.
New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die. New subjects.
Okay, let's see.
Will be added to the archives. But first,
The thing is, it's nothing new that's added to the fight. Everyone of us knows the fight. In and out, probably. The only thing that changes is that stuff just hurts compared to normal mode. I mean, of course, we all do deal more damage and the boss survives longer, but it's been the same back in the old days, so not really a change.
subjects incapacitated. You're running out of time. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die.
Hey, I'm number 4. Ah, crap. A place where the circles... Yeah. Lame. Really lame. Place where the circles intersect. The good thing is I'm not part of the strategy, so it doesn't matter too much. Just a little bit damage lost. And very unfortunate, since I can't go on now.
These subjects are not worthy of you. Knowledge can be enlightening and fatal. subjects are not worthy of you. This is my domain. You cannot escape it. Let the Archive's knowledge embrace you. Every one of you will die. The data in these archives is deadly. Such a beautiful infection. The range is everywhere. A disappointing effort. Next subject.
And that's it.
Your test is over. You failed.
Perhaps you're trying to get your death just right. Really, any one of them will do.
Okay. K. Very important. Make sure do not intersect with the three circles. That's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. Really, it's a bad thing. Mathematics can kill you. Trust me. I have some experience in WildStar. Mathematics can kill you. Seriously, by the way, the thing that always kills you in video games is always mathematics. Most likely. Maybe sometimes not, but most often it's mathematics. It's obviously. I mean, our computer does nothing else but calculate. So, really interesting. I don't know how much you've heard about quantum computers or quantum computing or quantum processors, but it sounds really interesting. Because scientists say, or from what I heard, these quantum processors have it easier to calculate how stuff happens, how the universe works basically, but they can't do simple math, like 1 plus 1. They take much longer for that than a normal processor. And so basically I imagine a future computer to have a quantum processor and a normal processor. So you have one that calculates the complicated stuff and one that calculates the simple stuff to use the speed of both. Okay, second phase. But if you think about it, it's really weird. We always tried to apply math to the real world, right? Like physics, Basically, we have some formulas and using.
These subjects are not worthy of you. The archives
They
hold
aren't
many
correctly.
secrets that we share them with you.
Okay, wipe.
Pathetic. You do not warrant collection. Your test is over. You failed.
You would deny me your soul? Keep it up, and I might just take it personally.
God. Yeah, and the interesting part is like I said,
Exact change is greatly appreciated.
we try to apply math to the real world, which works very well.
New subjects. You two will be added to the
But the interesting part about it is that quantum computers that work with quantum physics can't do simple math. So how are they calculating the complicated stuff? That's really interesting, this question. I guess it goes more into philosophy than actual physics, but it's really weird. Because it would basically mean that everything we do with math, like everything we try to do with math, like applying it to the real world, to physics, technically is not the right way how the world exists. Like, it is really a proof for this concept to be just something we've made up that just works for, like, seems to work, or I don't know how to say it exactly. Like, it technically shouldn't work, I mean, or just approximately, that's what I'm searching for. That's really something very interesting. The whole topic about quantum physics is really interesting. I really should get a little bit more deeper into it. I probably imagine that if we will mix quantum physics with our current AI stuff, that will most likely be the moment when we're going over the top of AI development. I don't know if something good will happen out of it. Because I mean, basically, everything is just quantum physics, right? Like, even ourselves. Even the games, the computers, everything in the whole world. On the lowest level is quantum physics. Well, maybe not lowest level, but one of the lower levels.
Still don't want to die? All your
And
friends
so,
are doing
it's
it.
really crazy thinking about it that way. But the thing is, with the stuff about magic written with K, like real magic that some people believe in, the interesting part about is that it basically says, hey, there's another level below quantum physics. And so, yeah, I'm really interested in the next years, what things are going to look like. Going to be really awesome. I have no idea how I'm coming from WildStar to quantum physics. But I guess something that I really like about WildStar is if you've played data, if you've been in the Datascape raid, it's basically poking fun at the whole technology stuff and everything, and it's even poking fun at itself, which is really awesome. Okay. Best guide for WildStar. Red is dead. It even rhymes, which makes it so awesome.
New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will die.
Phew. Okay, let's make sure not to intersect with the circles again. Already learned today that math hurts, so let's not do that. Okay. Whoop. That's one of those stupid circles. God damn it. I hate them.
Lost, like rodents in a maze. New subjects. You two will be added to the archives. But first, you will
When does it phase at 75% or something? 78? 77? No, it's not 7. Oh! $73? Okay, it seems to be something about 73 or 72%. Okay.
You have found death. The archives. They wish to make you
Ah, damn it. No circles. But two don't kill. The third one with kills. Oh, never mind. I got a stack. I got a protection stack. Okay, never mind, it does kill. Two are enough already. Ah, I hate those circles.
The archives hold many secrets. Let me share them with you.
Good. That was the first phase. Two people died. I hope it's none of the X.
Commencing purge. The archives hold many secrets. Let me share them with you. Yes, fine additions to Mother Ona's brood.
Too bad.
Have rejected you. Commencing purge.
I have a kick. I have a kick.
Make you
Yeah, that's a wipe.
Your test is over. You failed. Your test
We're at the mid phase. We had to go behind a pillar.
failed.
And usually the comment from a raid lead is the
It's you again.
direction we should go, like north, east, south or west. And the raid lead was like, everyone go into your corners. Which is usually the thing he says in the first phase. Which I think has confused a few people and might have ended up in some people dying. Which then resulted in additional eggs, which then let it all snowball and escalate and stuff. And yeah, nope. It didn't go as planned. I also think this is going to be the last try. Let's prepare our sticks. Maybe we always want to loot too much. Keeping it up. Keeping it up. However, no one's going to get banned for using this exploit to keep 6 stacks up. I know it's used for worse stuff, but yeah, I don't know.
New subjects. You two will be added to the archive.
One gets through shot through. I don't know if I really hit.
New subjects.
And back to the hit and run.
Added to the archives.
And also make sure not to stay in any circles, especially in 2 circles at the same time.
From the entity's power.
We've seen it be deadly once, and they have experienced its death a little too often.
There is no escape from the entity's power.
Yeah. Went to the next part of my rotation too early.
I need new data subjects. I'm waiting for you.
And 2 people died.
You two will be added to the archive.
Even 1 healer.
First,
Oh god. And the 3rd one. Because of lasers. 2 lasers. 3 lasers. 3 people died of lasers. Which reminds me, talking about those lasers and AoEs generally in WildStar. Like, I don't know when I got introduced to this genre, but at some point I got introduced to the bullet hell genre, and I really started to like it. And sometimes, not always, sometimes it feels like some encounters in WildStar have some of these elements. And I really like this idea to implement bullet hell elements into MMORPGs, because it makes it more difficult. But the problem is you need a game with telegraphs, with a telegraph system, elsewhere it doesn't work as well. Like Guild Wars 2, for example, goes into the direction and really uses the telegraph system, or starts to use the telegraph system now. But the old content doesn't do that, which makes it really confusing if you get hit by a strong attack or not. Something WildStar, these problems WildStar doesn't have, which makes them really good. Oh, I got stuck. It could have gone so wrong. Oh, it feels like the timing is a little bit off. Strange. Let's ignore it for now. Hey, 4 egg face. There isn't really anything that hurts you here except red circles. Self. Okay. Phew. Below 50%. Still taking a little bit until the egg phase. Okay, 8 egg phase. I just... I did not kick it. Okay. So now things are going to go crazy. Basically, but then again, all we need to do now is just stay alive. The big problem is the people who have eggs that definitely are not allowed to die. Also, they need to have a dot on them, so they need healing, which means they need to stick nearby. But at the same time, they are these red fields that are spawned on them, which could potentially kill them. So it might be a little bit frustrating now. Yep, failed. This is the first time I actually saw this face on GAP1, and the damage, it's crazy. That was like 2 ticks and you're dead.
Come back to sleep, dearest.
Yeah, we have to be able to do this last phase. To manage this last kick, and then it's over. Whew! That's crazy. Okay. So yeah, that's the raid for today. Or for this week for WildStar. I hope you enjoyed. I really like that we got some more progress to actually see the last phase of Kuralak. Because that's something I didn't expect it to be that heavy. But what is it called? The dot, the pulsation of the X. That's really crazy. Like, you actually have to kick instantly to survive that. Phew, that's really crazy. Oh my god. So that's going to be interesting for the next weeks. But it depends on whether or not we get to kill Lavica. Like, I heard the guys killed Lavica yesterday. Unfortunately, I don't stream on Sundays. And I don't raid on Sundays, so I didn't see anything. But maybe it happens a few times on Monday. Going to be... yeah. Okay. So the next stream will be on Wednesday and Thursday. It will be a Guild Wars 2 stream. Friday I'm going to stream Terraria. And on Saturday will be another Guild Wars 2 stream. Wednesday will be basically Wing 1 to 4, most likely. I suppose. Might be something different, I don't know. I can't say for sure. Thursday most likely will be Doom CM, but it also might be something different. I just imagine it's that. And what's the last one? So Saturday is going to be just anything. Whatever the people want, so I can't say anything about that. And yeah, Friday, just Terraria. Need to get some more stuff. Seems to be really difficult, the bosses in Terraria. Need to prepare a little bit more, like more potions and everything to decrease the damage. Also, I'm going to get the thing that decreases the damage by 17%, the incoming one. So yeah, that's it basically. That's everything I wanted to say. And with that, I would say see you next time. And until then, Green Echo out for today.